All right, let's get this. Let's get this up and running again. And kick this off. They said, "Oh, you got 30 seconds."
That's how they
That's
do you, bruh.
Yeah, I know. I
That's
said
how
they
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 do
don't want
you.
they don't want they don't want them speaking. They don't want us speaking right here.
That's how they do you, boy.
Let's
That's
go,
how they
communists.
do you.
Let's see if we can get T-Bud
That's
back in
how
here
they do you.
because he was on a good one right there. We need him back to finish that. Thanks everybody for rejoining. We are gonna get T-Bud back in here in a minute.
Man.
Yeah, mid spitting. I already know he was on a good one, and they didn't want that.
Yeah, we saving that. We saving everything, brother.
Yeah, the last one is already up, guys. So we save all of these. All these are gonna be on here.
We saving everything.
Let's see if we can get back in here because I know he's like heavily shadow banned on here.
I know, bro, and I'm mildly shadow banned for some whatever reason, bro.
I might be mildly too because they uh they sent me a little something the other day talking about going against community guidelines because people are sensitive. I said I didn't know the truth was that sensitive, but okay.
That's what
Let me see if we can get back.
we are from. Well, I'm from we from LA area.
Yeah, West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast, California. The democratic state.
Well, I mean, not for long. I really don't think they won that last election. They changed that real quick. So
What we about to see? Let me see, because I think
okay, he said same. He knows what's up. He's like, "Yep, I'm
yeah,
stuck here too, man."
yeah, man, it's a lot of bullshit going on right now. Yeah, I'm trying to send it to the people I had in here too, but we gonna see, man. We gonna see.
Yeah, because I can't send him an invite. Like, period. Like, they won't allow me to send him an invite on here.
Um, damn.
He has
I
to come in to the chat or the live. I mean, I don't see
I
him
need
yet. Let me see.
I need to add him. What's his handle?
I'll send it to you right now. Because
Yeah, send
maybe
it
I
to
don't
me.
know. Maybe you could. I don't know, but
Yeah,
it definitely won't let
that's what
me.
I'm gonna try to do. I was gonna try to send it to him because I'm sending something to the homies right now.
Because he
That's been
doesn't pop
asking.
up at all on mine. He don't pop up at all on mine. Like, uh,
Shadow ban.
yeah. Okay. I sent it to you so you can see if he'll pop up or not. But yeah, he's not in here yet. All right.
Um,
I was like, you just went black. Neo
you
Soul
sent
wants to get into the live video. Okay.
did you send it on you sent it on IG?
I can't send anything.
No, did you send me his handle on IG?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
What's up? We see you. What's going on?
What is up? Oh,
Oh, snap. Lenny disappeared. Hold on. Let me see if I can get him back. They just kicking everybody off now. Uh, Let me see if okay, no, he's not back in here yet. Yeah, we have is that we just can't send him we can't send him an invitation. He's banned on here or something. Okay. All right. So Lenny's trying to add him right now. I have no idea what happened. Okay, here he is. Where you at, Lenny? I said he's unable to join. Jesus. Yeah, get this show on the road. There we go.
I sent it to him. He should hop in soon.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess they gave me a time limit or something. But
You know how
anyways,
that shit go.
yeah, communist America. All right, so Neo, so what's up?
Hi.
Anything you wanted to touch on or anything? Or questions you wanted to ask?
Well, I just wanted to say thanks for even having this conversation, first of all. I think it's
Cool.
extremely necessary conversation, especially in the Black community. Um, you know, regaining control over the physical is really difficult, especially in this climate. And there's no teachers that speak our language, that speak in layman's terms that we can relate to or that we look like. And
Hmm.
I follow um, the Dow Bull, and I had never seen YouTube before. And when I joined the live, I didn't see him. I couldn't see him because he's like inconspicuous. And I heard you speaking about breath work, and he's the one who introduced me to breath work. And I follow some of his work on YouTube, and I was totally taken aback by the like the realization of the power that I possess, like in the physical. And I've been literally getting my clients and all of my friends to like join me on the mat, like collectively every single day, and like focus on the breath. So I just want to like, I have a couple of friends that have joined us now, and I kind of just want to like bring the attention to your page from my followers, to both of you, because I think it's important that collectively we're all having this conversation from all different walks of life about self-healing, because it's possible. And it's like, just to know that it's possible, I think is the first step to like really getting everyone on board. So I mean, I've been practicing it. I don't really have anything to like ask or add, just that I'm like so excited that you guys are having this conversation,
Yeah.
because it's extremely necessary.
Absolutely. No,
Appreciate that.
yeah, we appreciate you just even watching and viewing and listening, taking the time, because I do agree, especially with the time that we're in right now, and especially
Hmm.
as Black people, we should be having these conversations and spreading the knowledge and information of the power that we
Absolutely.
do possess. You know what I mean? It's even beyond physical. You know what I mean? Of course, we are in a physical body, but this is so much beyond physical that we're not really attached to that. I feel like a lot of us, we forget that we are just in a body. We are not a body. And
Fact,
There you
so,
go. He's
factory.
in there.
yeah, here he is. Let me see if I can get him back. And then you could stay on and ask a
We
question
could.
if you want.
Yeah, definitely. You're
So
more than
first,
welcome.
okay, I guess I can ask you guys, how long have you been practicing?
Well, okay. Well,
Individually?
I'll start with me first. For me, to be honest, I learned a lot that I know from T Bud, from Sebi. You know what I mean? I stumbled upon T Bud's YouTube probably like 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Um, it's been because one thing is like listening to Sebi, you know, or Africa, but they seem like they're far away people. They're people that you can't really,
Reach.
um, yeah, you know what I mean. But then when I kind of like when I found T-Bud stuff, it just resonated with me on a level where it was almost like this was a friend of mine. You know what I mean? Who was doing all of this stuff and knew all this stuff. So I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot collectively, and then all of this kind of coincided with, I would say, an awakening in health, an awakening in awareness, an awakening in self, because all these things combine and coincide. So that's when I started doing implementing the fasting, juicing, blending, learning about herbs and things like that. So it's been probably about 6 years for me, really, I would say about 6 years.
So for you, when you were introduced to it, I like this. I think this is an important question to ask because on the other side of healing, we're always talking about how good it is to heal and how good it is to be better. But like, what drew you to that point in your life? Like, where were you experiencing or what were you going through that when you saw T Bud's work, it resonated with you and you're like, I need this I need this healing. Like, what pain were you experiencing? If any,
Um,
I'm just assuming.
Yeah, I don't think I experienced any pain, but then again, who am I to say that? There could be something I wasn't aware of. You know what I
Mm,
mean? But at least on the outside, you know what I mean? It wasn't, I didn't feel like, oh, I was depressed or oh, it was this, so that's what led me into something. It
mm,
was more so that I've always been someone who was awake and aware and would ask questions, but it was on a minute level. You know what I mean? Of course, the older I got, the more prevalent it became. But it was just like, I was someone who would ask questions. So it was just listening to the alternative things to what we've been told in school, you know what I mean, or our parents have told us. And it was kind of taking those things that resonated with me that way, so it's like not just health, but it could be simple things like switching over to a vegetarian or to a vegan diet and see how that changes your body and your mind from eating barbecue and chicken and this, that, and the third. So a simple change like that at a young age can completely shift you into thinking a different way. So once I start to come across those kind of concepts, or the people who are going through the same thing or have already went through it, then you start to see, okay, so I'm on a journey now. I'm on a path to learning and understanding things I didn't before. So that's really what all this is. It's a journey of understanding and learning. And while we're here on this earth, this is exactly what we should be doing. I mean, one thing, and I don't want to take up too much time, but one thing I came to a realization of recently, because I want to get back to T-Bud speaking. But one thing I came to realizing recently was how we're stuck in an endless time loop, and by that I mean the sun goes up, the sun goes down, the sun goes up, the sun goes down. There's really no such thing as time. You have this
no such thing as
this
time.
layer,
Yeah.
you have this layer within this, if you want to call it time, of when the sun goes up and the sun goes down, to make certain decisions, to do certain things within this, this frame. And so whether you're going to be doing things that heal you or things that do the opposite is up to you, and that can be mentally, physically, spiritually. So I just started to take those concepts and apply that to like my everyday life as much as possible, especially when it came to health and understanding.
So you mentioned veganism. Are you vegan?
Yes.
And how long have you done that?
That's probably been like 4 years.
So it sounds like, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 30.
So it sounds like ultimately you were just, like you said, trying to transition from what you were taught to know to what you were feeling that you should know. You're just basically transitioning out of the cap up, the cover up, and then awakening, opening up your eyes to the truth, and for lack of better words, the truth and things that
Yeah.
resonate more with you.
I feel like we already know
Hmm.
what we know. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just about remembering that you know it. Like
Exactly.
I could sit here and be like, I don't know how to play the keyboard, but as soon as give me a day and then somebody telling me this is A minor, B minor, C minor, and then it's like, okay, like you know how to do this already. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, we already know, but I feel once again people get stuck in the matrix, and they're comfortable with knowing certain things and then not knowing other things. I see this all the time. So for me, I've always been someone who I want to know. I always want to know, because I know that we're not here for no reason. The earth is not the way that it is for no reason. It's certain things like that. Once you start asking those questions, then you're already on the right path, in my opinion.
So that's where where my man T Bud comes in, and I guess you just came across his work on YouTube.
Yeah, actually, it was YouTube.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
That's great. Yeah. That's beautiful. I'm so grateful to hear this and witness this. How this device and this avenue of social media, though very much controlled, has been almost like a gift and a curse to the culture, where we got this type of thing going on. So I'm just really grateful to be a part of this and witness it, honestly.
No, that's awesome. We really truly appreciate everybody who wants to come on, have a voice, and have a conversation, because some people don't have a platform at all, whether big or small. Some people don't even feel comfortable enough speaking, about certain things, just because, maybe they want to keep to themselves. But that we are here, talking about what we are talking about is a good step going forward, to making change that we want to see, not just for ourselves, but others too.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I mean, I can ask all three of you guys a million questions, but I just want to listen to you now.
Oh no, we're gonna listen to T-Bud. T-Bud's the guest for a reason.
No. Thank you. I was gonna say though, it really, man, it's a crazy thing. With just talking about your process and everything, how it's different strokes for different folks, but we're all doing the same. We're all just doing the same process of reduction, and it really is. It's wild how the information, the more that I change, the more that I saw things on the shelves, and I'll be constantly posting, and I'll see things immediate, kind of changing my immediate reality years ago. And so I knew, I could see definitely the correlation of just my lifestyle, being the change and everything. And it's just wild with the information, the way it's going, your body just giving off different information the more that you liberate it. So and inhabit it more. And so it's as far as information, the way I've seen it travel from the beginning of YouTube in the early 2000s to now is really crazy. How precious that window was at different times. Yeah. If I would have not came across certain videos, I would have never came across them.
Yep.
Because I meet people that either they just don't have the time or they didn't have it then, and certain things came out and it just missed them. And it's man, the distraction is so crazy. The level of distraction is so crazy in this environment, to where it's and then you become addicted kind of to distraction, because the moment that you're not distracting, because a lot of it too is just the pain and the trauma. So and then you're doing things you don't want to do, so you distract, in your life, So it's the more that you distract, though, it's when you don't distract, it's literally dying, because it's your whole life is constructed around distractions, different periods of the distractions, in the day and in the month and in the year, and it's and it just keeps it really compounds itself, just when you think about that's your own personal inward, whatever you're doing emotionally to distract, and then you get bombarded with all the distractions from the outside of the world. It really is. People really do need to get with themselves. They really need a moment with themselves and some space to really be with themselves. At this point, space, it's a currency. I feel space is a currency. It's just as valuable as money in a lot of time. People can't afford space. So it's it really is a currency in itself, and affording yourself some space to experience certain things with yourself, to where you're really balancing out the whole scenario, whatever it is. You really get in touch with your own balance, be it money balances or whatever it is. The more that you're with yourself, if you do a mushroom trip with yourself at 3 a.m., it's gonna be a totally different, especially, if you do a heroic dose at 3 a.m. with yourself, and then that's the type of experience. It's kind of I guess it's a metaphor, and it's because you need to really know what you're made of and be with yourself, so you can get over yourself, get over.
Facts.
dying, you know what I mean? Because you kind of die before you die that
Yeah,
way.
you have to
It,
die in order to die, right?
Hmm.
yeah,
That's
it's like a
true.
practice. You practicing every day. Every day you practice laying your body down,
You know,
and it's
I,
like the
I'm
more.
glad you said that though. Real quick, I just want to chime in because this is another realization I had not too long ago in terms of like, I mean, I don't know. You guys could take this how you take this, but this was my view on it was that uh, we should be getting closer to death every day, but in a good way, in the death of like becoming lighter, becoming less dense and attached to the earth and material and all this, because I feel like that's us learning our lesson of kind of, you know, being attached to things that don't matter, you know, being attached to the matrix. We should be dying a little more each day, becoming less and less and less and less so that we can become more. If that makes sense, if that resonates with people. Th-
Yeah, yeah. If you don't waste, like it's like you're only afraid to die if you're not living right. If you don't waste, the less you waste and less distraction that you succumb to, the more that you're gonna be able to go to put your body down for rest every night and really practice death every night, and then you can overcome it that way.
mm,
You know, if it's an inward battle, you know, journey, not a battle. It's an inward journey of really getting beyond, you know, being in this life, like, and being consumed by the certain things in this life. It's easier to take on certain challenges and give certain things up if you already know where you're coming from, where you're going, because you're setting up the whole trajectory through your dreams. And the more that you don't waste in your life, the more that you'll be more present in your life, and then more present in your dreams. And then there'll be more. It's more seamless. The dreams and life are not separate, and you're setting up them trajectories to where you're forming bodies,
hmm
and then you dream, you're going to sleep in this one, and then you waking up in the next one, and it might be a, you know, a 10-year-old or whatever from your second cousin's kids or whatever. However you're doing it, you want it to be more
More
conscious.
right.
conscious.
You want to do, yeah, you want to make it more conscious to where you get in touch with them dreams every night. You're practicing death pretty much. You clearing your body to where you're not like, because people are eating way too late. The cycle is so abusive at
Mm,
this point. People are eating, you know, taking on all that external light too late in the day, and so then when you go to sleep, it just conflicts with the inner light. You're not
Mm.
really the dreams. It's your inner light. It's like light pollution. If you're in a city, you can't see the stars because the light is block you. It's blocking the light. It's the same thing. Taking that external light on later in the day is it's gonna mess with the dreams, and then it just sets. This is just like the slow motion dream. Like it's creation and reaction is the same letters. It's like dreams are like real life. This is
It's
like a splintered like GMO life that you
hmm
the
created to do
dreams are
some
the astral
specific
realm,
thing.
right? That's the astral realm, and that's why why they kind of call it the cousin of death is because when you're actually completely asleep, because we like to think we're asleep, but I think what you're talking about is really
Conscious.
the deep REM sleep that we're supposed to be having. Because if
Yeah.
we're not dreaming and astral projecting into that astral world in our dreams, then we're not really even living.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Correct.
that's kind of like the whole idea. It's like people think that lucid dreaming is supposed to be something that's, you know, rare or something, but it's supposed to constantly happen. It's supposed to consciously happen
Hmm.
every day. So I feel like, you know, just hearing Taste speak on that, I'm just like, damn, like, because I was just listening to a Brother Panics, and he
Mm,
was just talking about this. He was just like, people people need to learn how to astral project because it prepares you for the next life. Because when you're saying you want to get closer to death, that's what astral projection is. It's literally you releasing the body and being one with all the spiritual energy. It's about your spirit ascending. And that's why like
yes.
a lot of people are afraid to do that because it's like we call it sleep paralysis, right? Because we're in that state where we can't move and we start freaking out. And he said that's the part of a lot of people are fucking up at in astral projecting is not trusting your spirit to know when to come back.
Yep.
A lot of people get tripped off of wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, instead of experiencing
Hmm.
the moment and actually seeing where your spirit is trying to take you because it's trying to take you somewhere, but you want to allow it to.
Hmm.
That's like taking a drug, you know, a psychedelic, and then trying to miraculously cut off the trip.
Right.
You know, like it don't work like that. You know,
Yeah.
and when it comes to I mean, of course, I'll let T but expand on this, but when it comes to the breath, it is like a natural drug. Once you start to actually do breath work, you see that you don't need anything else. You know what I mean? You don't. The people are taking outside things to experience something when everything you need is literally inside of you.
Already with you. Yeah.
You know?
I noticed for
Yeah.
myself personally when I started doing breath work, I smoke weed. I used to smoke like a chimney, but I don't need to or have the desire to now with all the breath work. First of all, it shortens your breath anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you dehydrated, which makes you unable to breathe. So it doesn't make sense. It's kind of just counterproductive. If you're going to do breath work, smoking weed just doesn't work. But I noticed that since I started, getting to sleep has been almost not even my control. I'll be around because I've like again been following T Bud for about 3 years now. And about a year and a half ago, I came across this one video of his where it's teaching you like circadian, I think that's how you say it, the rhythm of the
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
body,
the circadian rhythm.
the circadian rhythm, and
Yeah.
then like the Chinese body clock or whatever body clock, all these different names for it. But you know what I mean, like the
Mm-hmm.
time of the highest functioning capacity of all the organs. And I'm like, okay, well, let me get my shit in order and in time. And I started to practice what I learned from Taylor's video. And I literally I can't be conscious after like 9 o'clock. I could be sitting right here in the salon chair after doing work, dog in my lap, and I'll be like just knocked out because and I'll open my eyes like, damn, was I just asleep? It's like, yeah, bitch, it's time. It's about that time. Go to sleep. Your body's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set up that breath rhythm,
Yeah.
man. It's just that it's just so much. It's so much atrophy, man. It's because people, we've been all weaknesses are abused
Mm-hmm.
strengths. So people are abusing
Mm-hmm.
strengths and then other things just get atrophy. Like it's just so much atrophy. Like in projection, astral projection, people are projecting all day. They're not in the moment.
Mm.
They're constantly projecting. So it's just getting burned out. You're just burning your eye out.
Mm.
Because you're constantly not living in the moment. You're constantly in the concept of the moment. So it's like you're opening this eye when it shouldn't really be open like that. You should just be in the immersed in the moment and in your body feeling everything. But if you're constantly just doing that, projecting like I should maybe do this and get this, and everything is just like, or they might say this, and I'm gonna say all the projections in the day create that atrophy because you're just abusing that strength. And then you have people daydreaming and all that. It's just like abusing the eye. You're not really in alignment. It's not all happening it's not all happening at once where your body is relaxed, your brain's in delta, and then your breath the breath is clear and unobstructed, and then the third eye opens and like in the darkest scenario you can be in, like 3 a.m. And when that's all happening and the alignment's all happening at the right time, then your experiences are going to be so much more
Mm.
satisfying. You're going to be so much more present in them, in the dreams, and then it's like the sacrifice doesn't make any sense anymore. Like I'm missing this whole other eternal life. I'm missing out on eternal life and eternal experiences because I want to repeat experiences here, or I've had experiences that have been conditioned
Yeah.
in me to repeat here. And it's just like the more that I just stay in the moment, I don't project, then I'm not like lost in astral projection. And when it comes time to do it, and I enjoy it, I can enjoy that, and I can come back, and you're really just interacting with yourself. It's like hot tub time machine.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just interacting with yourself timelessly. And so it really just is the breath is being altered.
Mm.
It's like really like it's an algorithm, man, and the breath is really being driven into a more shallow place
Yeah.
to where it's creating a certain rhythm in all the people, and then they can only have certain thoughts really occur to them because it's just a lot of traffic. It's all in
Put that
breaths. It's
mask
just a lot
on.
of traffic, like a bunch of breaths.
Put that mask on.
And not only that,
Yeah,
the oxygen is extremely necessary for the organs to operate at their highest capacity. And I almost feel like it's a well-oiled machine to have people in this space of shallow breathing. It's almost like intentional. Okay, the more people who can't breathe, the more money I'm going to make, selling them cures and treatments, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the culture. And there's a lot of places all over the world who practice breath work. Like this is what they do, what they've been doing with their kids. Here in this country, in this culture, nah, it goes against the capitalistic culture. It's not going to make any money if everybody was out here astral projecting and caring for themselves. Without
It go against the
Right.
church too. The church don't want you in there meditating and all that crap. They gonna have
Right.
a
facts.
heart attack.
Well, don't forget the churches make money too off of a belief system. So
Yes.
when it comes to your own, spirituality yourself, once again, there's no disconnect. It's you and source. Now, what religion does is that pretty much disconnects you from source. They got you using a middleman or, something else, a statue or
They
whatever,
made you
with
go
these
into
religions
they made you go inside of a building instead of outside of nature,
in
In
nature.
nature.
where church naturally started, where spiritual,
Hmm.
communion started. That's what people forget about. Like with the first churches of community gatherings were all in the middle of nature. Why? Because it was all about energy sources.
Hmm.
And they knew the deepest way and best way for them to connect with the higher source, as above so below.
Facts.
Utilize
Hmm.
everything around you, utilize the trees. They didn't go around just burning shit up or even taking out branches of trees without giving something up for that. See, it
Hmm.
was give and take back then. We have lost that art of the barter system and trading with each other
Hmm.
amongst one another, because this system has conditioned us to think that it's all about capitalizing on opportunities and on people's weaknesses or ignorant belief systems. So I feel like now that a lot of people are becoming aware of this shit, we can start, like he said, forming these communities. Like, we need to start buying land, we need to start forming these things again, because we are becoming the parents in that generation that has to teach the youth that is coming up now how to move forward within the next 10 and 15 years, because they're getting the worst in. Like, our generation got lucky the internet barely hit
Hmm.
us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all the technology barely hit us, because if it would have hit us at any earlier time, it could have been way more detrimental to us, and the information that we do have now could have been distorted a long time ago, and we would have never ever had any opportunity to actually indulge into this stuff, just like Tay was saying. And I feel like, especially when you're talking about Sebi and Hemet and all their videos, oh, trust me, that shit is long gone. A lot of the most powerful shit that you
Yeah.
saw on YouTube, it's gone on
Yeah.
shit all over the web. And I feel like this is kind of that reason right now. And when he mentioned like daydreaming and all that shit, man, it really made sense about how we're talking about REM sleep and everything. When you can't get a proper night's rest and you don't enter that realm during sleep, you will wake up daydreaming and drifting off everywhere, because your mind and body are in two different places. They're
Disconnected.
not, yeah, they're
Disconnected.
not in one place in one time. So of course you're going to be daydreaming. Of course you're going to be off in la la land, because your body is not in a circadian rhythm. It's not working in a cohesive way. So it's like, man, we really
Now,
must pay more attention to that.
I want to do this real quick. I want people to be able to ask some questions for T Bud in a couple of minutes. But before we do that, um, T Bud, do you want to expand on your understanding of death? And the reason why I asked that is because the death business is booming right now. People are losing loved ones. A lot of people, they have fear of death. They don't have a real understanding of death. Um, do you want to kind of expand on your understanding of it?
Wait, hold on. Before he does, I have to say this thing. My grandma passed, well, they killed her with the COVID thing in December. And I had saw her in my dream the other day. And again, I always was a dreamer, but I was not as lucid dreamer until I started doing breath work. And when I saw her, I knew it was her. I knew I could talk to her. I knew I could feel her. And when I woke up, I remembered everything about that moment. And it was just like connected. There was no separation. It's like, oh, I saw my grandma the other day. And it's like, bitch, grandma's not here. Oh, she's here. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Hmm.
that's all I wanted to say.
No, no, it's funny you say that because my mom just passed away last month. Same thing happened. The day that she passed away or transitioned, she came to me that night. I just had something just vibrating my crown chakra like crazy. And I just all day, the whole day. And then finally, when I actually laid down, and just went through this kind of like, little wormhole type of thing. And boom, just like that, I see her there. And she didn't say anything because telepathy is done in the mind. I knew it was her. I felt the energy. I felt calm. I felt peace. She was telling me that she was okay. But same thing that happened to your grandmother that happened to my mom. They killed her in the
They
hospital.
killed her. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but we just,
Don't-
we're two people who literally just met who have similar stories. And this is what people are dealing with, which is why I want to give the opportunity for T-Bud to speak on his understanding of death for these people who probably are losing people, in their families and, around them.
Yeah, man. Sorry to hear that for y'all, man. I was gonna say though, man, as far as death is, life itself is animated ego death, and you constantly going through this process of generating an ego to have experience with, whether it's an astral body to a physical body. It's like you're generating, or to a online avatar. It's like you're creating this ego to have this external experience with,
Mm-hmm.
and so the whole process of you know of creating one like that, like you realize that it's just a constant. You're going to develop the ego fully. They realize, then you realize, and then you're going through an ego death, and it's just happening throughout every day. Like I was saying, like every day you're going through the life and death. You're going through the whole practice of it, of the sunrise, and of the whole sacred geometry of, and from nothing to something, as far as the way, as far as the creation process is conducted. It's all happening every day. So you have periods in every day where you can tap into that, because it's always happening. And if you have those, like when people talk about death, like, or as far as like at funerals, when they talk about like, the person being dead, like if they were to regenerate, they would, you would see them in a more lively state. It's like a lot of the times I feel like people's identification with a person is just like how they knew them. And it's like, they were a whole person, before they was a person, they were something else. Like, and so like the death itself is like life being death, every breath bringing you closer to death and closer to life. Cause it's like a paradox. Life is like a paradox. You're dying in this life and going to sleep, and then you wake up in another life, in another dream. And if you died violently or horrifically, then it's going to be some trauma in that process, in that transition, because you're going to come into the next body, and the transition has to happen. So the baby is going to have dreams of getting killed constantly until that is reconciled. But that typically, for a lot of people, the baby's coming into the life, then the baby's vaccinated, the genitals get mutilated for if you're a male, or if you're in the Muslim world, maybe if you're female, you get circumcised. So it's really like the trauma is creating the amnesia between the dreams. And so it's like so much of the micro traumas and the micro suicides in the day are creating these little cellular traumas to our body, and it's creating like a disconnect in the nervous system. And it's just how the body communicates with itself is through the nervous system, which is regulated by the breath. So the nerves is what feels everything. You're experiencing everything with your nervous system. So the more that you are inhabiting the entire nervous system in this body, the more that you'll be able to have access to something beyond this body, whether the next body or however you want to look at it. It's just the full inhabitation of this body makes it to where you can get those crossroad points in your day when you're going through your REM sleep or whatever at night, to connect with the other people or whatever the other
I have a question, Tay.
projections of you.
I had a
What's up?
question because you're talking about nerves. So where do all the nerves connect?
I mean, they're coming up the spine into the brain. It's all the nerve.
Feet, right?
Yeah, it's all like a tree.
Yeah, from the root.
Like it's all.
Yeah, it starts from the root, from the base.
Like the nerves are all coming up and into the brain, up from into the spine, because it's really if you look at the spine and the brain, it's the same as the sperm.
Yeah, it looks the same. It looks identical.
And it's the same.
Shape of it.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
so then and the body is the egg, is the tissue that you're generated from the three levels of tissue that create your body, your physical body. That's all coming from the egg. So the egg is just pretty much just like amplifying the sperm, and because the sperm's like the blueprint, like as far as like the nervous system, you're getting that base right there. So then that the egg and the womb are amplifying that blueprint until it's like getting 3D printed
Mm.
from
Mm.
spiritual sperm
Right.
into sperm and into a human, to fetus to human. So the that the nervous the nervous system, it really, that's the way you communicate with your own body. So it's definitely the way you're going to communicate with every, through it. That's the first way you're communicating, is through the breath. And then the breath is going to, your nerves are going to determine your reality, because you're going to respond to situations based on the state of your nervous system. As much as you try to resist it, it's like talking to an animal. You can talk to a lizard and say like, don't go left, but your body is animated. It's the animal. Like, you have to stay in control of the breathing to stay in control of the other, the faculties, every other faculty in the body.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay on top of the breathing, then you're staying on top of the thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's just following that. So it's like, it just becomes more apparent, the more that you allow the cells to breathe more, and then you stop traumatizing cells and covering them up or whatever. And it's, you continually go through the same trauma, but it's like, you don't, people, they're not really getting it all at once. It's like the fragmentation that messes with the processing.
Right.
Because like you get like a dream, and then you get it like it'll come in like 4 nights, and then people will get like pieces of the dream, and they're not getting it all at once. And so that just like interferes with the lesson, with the whole process, really. Because it's like, if you just did something once, like if you just took DMT one time or whatever, if you busted one nut to have a kid, when whatever, if you did whatever, everything, didn't do it for a long time and then did it once, then you're going to just be more present for it, and then you'll be more satisfied. And then you don't need to repeat, offend, but things aren't being processed completely. The breath, people aren't breathing completely. So much obstruction to where everything's getting chopped up. All the thoughts are chopped up and scrambled. All the feelings are chopped up and scrambled,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's kind of manic and up and down and yo-yoing, because you're not getting it all at once. And that's just like really just the holistic view of things. Just seeing there's no separation from life and death, and slave and master, and God and devil or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's all the oneness of things. And the more that you can integrate the two, and and become the alpha and the omega like that, then you are granted the eternal life that they talk about in every religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you don't have to go outward like that. So the more that you do that, the more that you can you're going into your dreams, and you can tell when it's an actual like memory from another lifetime, or it's really differences in the way a dream transitions. And you can see everything as projections, and you as projections to them, whether it's your mom or whatever. And you just like, man, if I come into this little side dream I got over here, these people are alive and these people aren't alive. And I just take what I got. And it's not that they're not alive, they're just not alive in this dream.
Correct. See,
And
I don't want to cut you off. I just want to throw this in there real quick. Is everything you're talking about? If some people don't have a great analogy, I think a good analogy is that movie with Jet Li called The One, where there's all these different hymns, and I don't want to spoil it, but basically he's trying to go back to his self. He's trying to get all of these fragments of himself into one, to become the most powerful, the strongest being that he can be. And I think that's a good analogy, and that's a movie that's probably pretty underrated as well.
Yeah, and consolidating. It really is a consolidation process.
Absolutely. And so well, first of all, if anybody has questions, we do have a question bar you can put in there, or you guys could send a request. I don't know how much time you got, T-Bud, but I'm sure people got some questions for you. So we do want to get to that pretty soon. If you guys want to hop in the video and ask T-Bud a question or two, feel free to send a request, and we'll let you guys in for like 5-6 minutes.
I've seen the one that says like, can we talk about ancestors and their help in this war?
Well,
It's funny because I was talking to Dr. Africa's mentor, and he was like, "Man, ancestors, a lot of them created this issue, so you're not gonna be able to, you're not gonna be able to call on a lot of them."
mm,
So it's like, so because now you're leading, and it's like they're just support, they're just role players
It's
now,
pretty.
right.
and it's like,
Damn,
yeah,
majority of them, yeah, because when you think about Africa, Sebi, like all the known like revolutionary ones, right? It's only a handful of them. So you're like the ancestors and their help is kind of like,
yeah, yeah. It's really you think about it like a lot, a lot. Your ancestor could be anybody that's lost in the matrix, kind of like at this point, because you look at it like your parents, you came through, they might have been so distracted with traumas or whatever, to where it's just everything's kind of just random,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, man, I got here however I could, and then I'm gonna tap into whoever, because it's constant, like it's just the way of virtue or way of the Tao or whatever. It's like through helping others, you help yourself. The more you give to others, the more wealthy you are, and all that. So it's like the same thing with the unseen, as like there's a process of everything like evolving. So as you evolve and you're moving, as people, however you want to look upwards or whatever, or inwards, more deeper, whatever, however you're looking at it, the more there's something, it's like a chain. It's like a spiritual chain, like the breath chain is like, it really is a chain of beings that have to help you so that they can evolve, and you have to help beings so that you can evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a constant like
Cycle.
meshing of that. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think too that
So
today it's really a beautiful, like I said when I came in, it's great to witness today, because today is not like it was yesterday. Like there's so many of us, all different walks of life, that are present in this collective, like he said, evolving or elevating, however you want to view it. So it's way more powerful, and it's brand new. Like it's new for us. Like we can look to our ancestors, but they're not us, and they don't have what we have now. They don't have the tools that we have. They don't have the drive that we have, So, and also the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual collective behind us that's present today that wasn't present then. So
I'll
Even
also
even
say
more
this.
so than that,
Go ahead.
understanding. You know what I mean? Understanding, because we're we're different now. I mean, we're different now to where we had stuff like the internet, which enabled us to do research even at a faster rate than people before, where they just had to read books or rely on newspapers or things to get news and information. It's a lot easier now to where you have no excuse. You have no excuse to not know, what you want to know. You know what I mean? If you really want to know the truth, you have all the tools to be able to go inside yourself to be able to do that. For probably a lot more difficult for our grandparents and great grandparents and all of them. But now for us, there's no excuse.
right, especially if they're hiding the fact that they're learning how to read and write in the first place. So how easy is it for them to have that ability to, you know, evolve or elevate, however you want to put it.
Correct.
I'll tell you this too. Like when we're talking about the ancestors, I know we said like we were just joke. I was lightly joking about the ones that just passed, because the ones you really want to channel are your great great ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
because those were the warriors. Those were the ones that fought on this land, that were self-aware, that knew the importance of nature, that knew the importance of family, that knew the importance of structure and discipline and things of like that. So I feel like there's practices you can definitely do to channel them, because they're all living within our DNA. All of our ancestors are ancestrally in our DNA. And so when you want to channel that inner warrior or that inner, whatever that you're searching for, it's already within you. So the deeper you dig and the more you seek out, as far as digging deeper, is going to help you seek out the help from the exterior that you need, and that's whatever vessel or whatever spiritual entity. And so what I was going to get into is that, because he was talking about being in 3D, right? And I like to see like 4D as time, right? Because time is constantly moving, and we can't keep up with time. And we like to think that we can, but we can't control time, because time is infinite. It's always happening. It's constantly moving. Just like the shit I just said 2 minutes ago, it's already history. It's already the past. And the things I'm going to say before, that's me kind of staying in the moment and speaking into the future. So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about time in that concept, you start to appreciate the moments a lot more, because when they say that, time is of the essence, it literally is, because what we're doing in this exact moment is predicting the future. It's constructing the future. So that's why it's important to be aware of where you are in the moment and make sound decisions and make conscious decisions. Because when you do that, you are putting yourself basically past 4D into the fifth dimension. Because
Mm.
to me, when we're all talking about 5G, I like to live in 5D. And what I mean
Right.
by 5D is that I'm communicating with all the, what you would call, spirits, and just all the elements of life without even seeing them. And it's just super metaphysical. That's where I want to live. I want to be in that area of life where I don't have to go off of everything that I have to see. It's just more that I get that vibration, something that
Mm-hmm.
makes my spirit hum. That's like the frequency that I'm seeking now. Something
Mm.
beyond the 3D and even the 4D. Is I'm trying to ascend to the 5D.
Yeah, that coincides, I believe, with what I was saying before. Is that's what we need to be doing in terms of dying more every day. We're getting less and less and less away from a third dimensional thought process, a third dimensional reality. It's less and less of this because less is more. Once you become less, you become more. That may be tough
Yeah.
for people to understand, but it's like it literally is that simple. I used the analogy before of like, a refrigerator. It's some people will look at that. If you have nothing in the refrigerator, some people will look at that and be like, well, you don't have anything in there. How's that more? But it's like, well, you don't understand. There's less so that I can put more. That's the
Mm-hmm.
whole point. Coming less to become more.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Go things
Yeah.
longer serve you.
Life is lived in an empty space. You don't live it in the walls. You don't live it. You live it inside the empty space of the house.
that's a
But
that's a
That
yeah,
beautiful
that's what.
analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nah, yeah. So, but the ancestor thing though, like you're your own ancestor, because like people had kids, and then you had a kid, and then you reincarnating through whatever trajectory that you created in that. So a lot of you're your own ancestor ultimately, but like I really feel like you should though if you could get an image of the oldest ancestors you have. I feel like it does change. It does help you. Like I feel like especially in certain circumstances, if I can recall the image of like my great grandmom and stuff like that, just from having seen it, and it's a black and white image. It's like I really feel like it kind of that's like it's like almost seeing like this is a part of me that's always been here, and it's like she just represents that.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've been in like really heroic doses, like an ounce of mushrooms, and like it really will like it really just being able to recall like her face really will allow me to get through it more,
Mm-hmm.
like just from having it, like to have that recall. And then because it's just so much, man, so much with recall. I feel like we're just so much atrophy with the recall, like that movie Total Recall, like how
Mm-hmm.
as soon as it's just like the way that we are not even experiencing things and like bottling the moment in pictures and stuff, and we don't even really remember the moment. We remember like the first time we look at the picture or the video. It
Mm-hmm.
like interferes with the memory. And like now you're not even like you're thinking about your memories in your life, but it's like you're recalling the fabrication or the recreation of it. It's not, you're like making the memory up again. Like it's not even the actual memory because you've like attached it to this image. Like if you think about like a picture, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what I did that day or whatever, and like that whole thing, it's all of that. It's just so much attachment. Like it creates so much attachment in the pictures. Like pictures are creating such a problem with recall in videos, to where that you can bottle the moment, so you don't even like appreciate the moment because like, ah man, it's whatever. I mean, I could always just refer to this picture. But if you knew you couldn't take a picture, you would be more in the moment. You would force you to be more in the moment. And like that's the type of thing that lets you know, like when people are really at peace with, the symbiosis on Earth is like we're not leaving a trace because there's no greater than or less than. It's like balance. So it's like there's no need to like to hoist people up or bring people low, and people can find their own way and everything sorts itself, and there's no record books because there's no greater than and less than. You see everything as one. So why do I need to keep record of anything? So like the people that were living the most harmonious would naturally have left no traces. And so it's like, it's crazy how where we're at with like, as far as like the amount of a footprint we're leaving. And I feel like it just interferes with the whole reincarnation process and keeping you in certain cycles, because the energy is literally like trapped in the digital photo. And like, it's like, I feel like it really becomes like self-realized, like SpongeBob when he made Doodle Bob, like he made that drawing and then just started destroying his life. It was like the broken template version of him. It's like the same way, like if you have a kid unconsciously, you know, and then if the template isn't like you're breaking the template down the more that we do that. So then you're reincarnating back into a broken template. And so you don't even remember you don't even know what you're missing at this point, because you've been locked out of certain parts of your physiology because the template has been broken down. The body can't even like do certain things. You're going to have to go through a whole rehauling of the body to where you can cultivate and get back in touch with those areas that you're not even inhabiting in the body, because it was just forfeited for generations. And it's, you know, you're just forfeiting space in the body, space in the day. It's just like getting forfeited to parasitic activity, to parasites, to anything that reinforces this false identification with this body or the avatar. And then the avatar itself, the online avatar itself, really becomes, it really wants to it wants your energy, it wants your whole body, it wants everything. It's just because it's so incomplete. You know, it's not like you're a more complete being. This 2D version of you that's in the right lighting or whatever, all that. This thing, the more that you give it energy, the more you're giving it your will. And it's really consuming your energy and taking your will. The more that you give it to that, because you identify more with it, people are using that to buy things, sell things. They're selling their lifestyle through their avatar. So then they identify with the avatar more and more. And the more they take these pictures and they identify with the pictures, it's just crystallizing the identification. So then this avatar is really everything, whatever you identify with is God. If you identify with fear, that'll be God. If you identify, whatever you're identifying with is going to be God. So if you're identifying with this incomplete shade of you that's like trapped in some digital prison, then the more that you're doing that, you're just siphoning off your energy. And then who knows, as far as like the repurposing, what people can do with your image out here. It's like, to walk this all back is a big process, man, of like really getting off the grid totally. Like to really get off the grid to where, you know, we can communicate. 'Cause your body is the first phone. So it's not like, you know, you made it. So you make the phone, like you said, you know, your body is from your body. It came from inside of you. So we just got to really walk it back to where, like, man, we're creating needs because we like to desire, because of the satisfaction of getting something that we think we need, just from identification, false identification. Because the more that you identify with anything, like if you're identifying with a persona, then it has a certain limitation, or if you're identifying with the body, it has a certain limitation. So everything that is going to support that limitation is going to be more parasitic, and everything that's going to be identifying with beyond your body and just the oneness of the whole circumstance, whatever circumstance you're in, it is you. Then you can navigate life differently. That's like, they call universal principle, but it's just a lot more difficult if your body is constantly losing temperature control. And that's what the parasites are driving us to do. It's really the temperature control. That's what's controlling the pH and the breath pattern. It's because people they're going to sleep. They're burning out their adrenals and their endocrine system, to where then they go to sleep, they're stressed out in their dreams, and then they have traumatic dreams or unvisited traumas that they haven't processed, and then they wake up tired. And so then it's just this whole disconnect to where, you know, you're just being locked out of your own body and your own potential, because the way that you're burning out your adrenals, because your adrenals are really like the superhuman gland, because people, if you're like in fight or flight,
Hold on, T-Bud.
you can do
T-Bud,
anything.
we got, they're doing it again. We got 5 seconds. They're going to kick us off. We're going to do it one
All
more
right,
part, okay?